Good day, viewers. Welcome to another edition of the Daily Strange Stories. I'm John Brown. Our lead story for today. Was the Hennops River hit meant to silence Vala Umgodi whistleblowers? Police officer's father wants the killers punished. South Africa, a nation grappling with a complex tapestry of socio-economic challenges, is once again in mourning. The grief stems from the mysterious deaths of 3 young police officers, their lives cut short under circumstances that are raising serious questions about the safety and security of those sworn to protect the nation. In late April 2025, Constables Linda Cebekhulu, Boipelo Senoge, and Keamogetswe Buys vanished without a trace. The trio, based in the Free State province, were en route to Polokwane in Limpopo. But their journey ended in tragedy, their vehicle discovered wrecked in the Hennops River, in Centurion, Gauteng. The bodies of the 3 constables were recovered, alongside 2 other individuals, one an SAPS employee and another unidentified. While the recovery brought a sense of closure to the families, it also opened a Pandora's box of unanswered questions, with many suspecting foul play. Initial reports suggested a tragic accident. National Police Commissioner General Fanny Masemola told journalists that the vehicle appeared to have been involved in an accident before plunging into the river. The wreckage and the officers' injuries seemed to support this theory. But beneath the surface, doubts began to simmer. The initial assessment of the scene by law enforcement officials has been met with skepticism from various quarters, including the families of the deceased officers, members of the public, and even some within the police force itself. This skepticism has been fueled by inconsistencies in the official narrative, a lack of clear evidence to support the accident theory, and a general sense of unease surrounding the circumstances of the officers' deaths. Paul Senoge, the father of Constable Boipelo Senoge, is one of those who finds it difficult to believe the official narrative. According to Bona magazine, he has voiced his suspicion of foul play and demanded that those responsible for his daughter's death, and the deaths of her colleagues, be brought to justice. He described his daughter, who would have celebrated her birthday on May 4th, as a loving and responsible young woman, always in touch with her family. While grateful that her body was recovered, he insists that the investigation must continue, and if their deaths were not accidental, the perpetrators must face the full force of the law. The grief and anguish experienced by Paul Senoge are shared by countless other families in South Africa who have lost loved ones to crime and violence. His determination to seek justice for his daughter reflects a broader desire among South Africans for greater accountability and transparency from law enforcement agencies and a more effective response to the country's high crime rates. South Africa is reeling after the bodies of the 3 off-duty SAPS constables were discovered in the Hennops River, sparking outrage and conspiracy theories online. The wreckage of their car was later found submerged, too damaged to believe that it was an ordinary accident that caused such an accident, and 2 more bodies, one from a SAPS employee from Littleton Police Station in Gauteng province, were also recovered nearby. Theories are gaining traction, suggesting the officers may have been targeted by illegal mining syndicates, and that elements within SAPS leadership are allegedly covering it up. This comes as pressure mounts on the SAPS following a separate scandal where 4 officers were previously arrested for allegedly aiding the escape of illegal mining kingpin James Tiger Choili. Despite a national crackdown that has seen over 18,000 arrests under Operation Vala Umgodi, Choili remains at large. Public trust in the SAPS is now under intense scrutiny. Critics claim the deaths of the constables could be a hit by a syndicate trying to silence internal whistleblowers, with whispers that higher-ups are obstructing the truth. But perhaps the most unsettling aspect of this case is the growing suspicion within the police force itself. According to reports, some members of the security cluster, including a highway patrol officer, believe that foul play cannot be ruled out. This officer questioned why there were no calls reporting the accident, and why there were no noticeable signs of a serious impact on the bridge or the surrounding area. The concerns raised by this highway patrol officer reflect a growing sense of unease within the police force about the circumstances surrounding the officers' deaths. The officer's questions about the lack of accident reports and the absence of impact evidence have fueled speculation that the official narrative may not be the full story and that there may be more to the case than meets the eye. The officer, speaking anonymously, raised a disturbing question: how could a 24-hour fuel station and the ever-present tow trucks and traffic police on that stretch of road have missed a major accident? The officer even speculated whether the car was deliberately dumped into the river to divert attention, suggesting the involvement of crime intelligence. The officer's speculation about the involvement of crime intelligence is particularly troubling, as it raises the possibility that the officer's deaths may have been the result of a deliberate act by individuals within the police force itself. This scenario, while speculative, underscores the deep-seated mistrust and suspicion that exists within the SAPS and the potential for corruption and abuse of power. The lack of transparency and accountability within the SAPS has eroded public trust and made it more difficult to solve crimes and to bring perpetrators to justice. While National Police Commissioner General Fanny Masemola has stated that the investigations will include a reconstruction of the accident scene, the lingering doubts and unanswered questions continue to fuel speculation. The Commissioner has also said that they have no rules to stick to, whatever charge they investigate, and that forensics are going to go through the car, and they are going to look thoroughly at the car. He also said that it looks like it capsized first, but he is not an expert. The Commissioner's assurances that the investigation will be thorough and impartial have done little to quell the public's skepticism, as many people believe that the police cannot be trusted to investigate themselves. The SAPS has announced that the 3 constables will receive official funerals, a mark of respect for their service and sacrifice. Boipelo Senoge's funeral is scheduled for May 8th, at the St. Peter Anglican Church in Rocklands, Mangaung, followed by her burial at the South Park Cemetery. Memorial services for Keamogetswe Buys and Cebekhulu Linda are also planned. These official funerals serve as a public acknowledgement of the sacrifices made by police officers in South Africa, who often face dangerous and challenging working conditions. The funerals also provide an opportunity for the community to come together to mourn the loss of these officers and to express their support for their families. However, some critics have argued that these symbolic gestures are not enough and that the government needs to do more to address the root causes of crime and violence in the country and to provide adequate resources and support for law enforcement agencies. The families of the deceased officers gathered at the Hennops River to perform traditional rituals before taking the bodies home, a practice deeply rooted in South African culture. Professor Musa Chulu, a renowned cultural expert, explained that these rituals are essential to ensure that the spirits of the deceased find peace and do not become restless, potentially causing further misfortune. These traditional rituals are an integral part of many South African cultures and reflect a deep-seated belief in the interconnectedness of the living and the dead. The rituals often involve prayers, offerings, and other symbolic acts that are intended to appease the spirits of the deceased and to ensure their safe passage to the afterlife. The performance of these rituals by the families of the deceased officers highlights the importance of cultural traditions in providing comfort and support during times of grief and loss. The trio, based in the Free State province, were en route to Polokwane in Limpopo, tasked with a deployment that spoke to the heart of South Africa's ongoing struggles, combating illegal mining. Illegal mining, or zama-zama as it's commonly known, is a pervasive issue in South Africa, driven by poverty, unemployment, and the lure of quick riches. Desperate individuals, often working in dangerous and unregulated conditions, risk their lives to extract precious minerals. But this isn't just about desperate individuals, it's a multi-billion-rand industry controlled by powerful criminal syndicates that are not afraid to use violence to protect their interests. The issue has been a long-standing problem in South Africa, with roots tracing back to the historical exploitation of the country's mineral resources and the subsequent economic disparities that have persisted even after the end of apartheid. The allure of gold and other precious metals continues to draw vulnerable individuals into the dangerous world of illegal mining, where they face not only the risks of tunnel collapses and exposure to toxic substances but also the threat of violence from rival gangs and corrupt officials. Thank you for watching this news video. We'd love to hear what you think about this story, so please leave your comments below. We read them all and appreciate your insights. Join us again in our next strange story. Until then, goodbye.